Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast. Today we have a very special guest. We have Mr. Benji Toh with Head to Toe Physical Therapy. Benji, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, brother, for sure. Well, tell us a little bit of, let's start with this. 50,000 foot view. Tell us a little bit about Head to Toe. Obviously, it's got a little bit of your name in it, right? T-O-H is your last name, Benji Toh, right?
Right. Sure, yeah. So I started my business 2 years ago. I'm a physical therapist. I've been a PT for 8 years, but essentially decided to go out on my own for a number of reasons, which I'm sure we'll get into some of that today. But mostly just kind of have my own vision and passion of how I think healthcare should be done, and taking care of patients and just doing it right and doing it well. And so, yeah, I started 2 years ago, one-man show, and I just believe in just doing right by patients, and that's the priority at the end of the day. Unfortunately, healthcare today is not really about that anymore, and so, it's been a good ride.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Victory MMA. Victory MMA isn't just about a gym. It's a community built on hard work and dedication. Their classes like jiu-jitsu focus on technique over brute force, making it accessible to everyone. Or if you're into striking, their kickboxing and boxing classes are top-notch, teaching everything from footwork to punches with precision and style. And the best part, they're currently offering a 1-week trial for just $20.
Really?
That's insane. That's actually a really good deal.
That's a great deal.
Yeah. Head over to ColoradoVictoryMMA.com to start your journey with Victory MMA today.
Epic Eyewear. Our next sponsor is Epic Eyewear, a remarkable veteran-owned brand that's revolutionizing the way we think about sunglasses. At Epic Eyewear, they believe that designer quality doesn't have to come with a hefty price tag. Their range of stylish, durable, and comfortable sunglasses is crafted to cater to all your needs. Each pair is a blend of contemporary design and practical features, ensuring you look good and your eyes are protected, no matter where your adventures take you. So, if you're in the market for a new pair of shades, remember Epic Eyewear. Check out their collection today and elevate your eyewear game.
Our next sponsor is Planet Duct. Did you know what's lurking in your air ducts can impact your health and wallet? Planet Duct, a leader in air duct cleaning, uses the most powerful vacuum trucks in Colorado to ensure your indoor air quality is top-notch. They bring a whole new level of clean to your home or business, helping you enjoy lower utility bills, better respiratory health, and prevent damage to your HVAC system. And let's not forget about the dryer vent cleaning, essential for preventing fires and reducing drying times. Check them out at planetduct.com to learn more. Our next sponsor is Recon Marketing.
What does every business need, Andrew?
A bathroom.
And what else?
Marketing.
Digital marketing, right?
Okay.
So let me tell you a little about Recon Marketing. We have around 30 years experience doing digital marketing. So we offer paid search, paid social, SEO, web design, and we also have a new dashboard that we're offering our clients as well. All the data pull in there so our clients can check their data whenever they want. Did you know about that part? Find us at reconmarketingservices.com. Well, what got you into everything that you're doing regarding physical therapy? Is it something that you took in college, that you sparked some interest with it? We know before we talked on the show that you're from Chicago as well, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Big city. Now you're in a secondary city in another state, but...
Yep. Born and raised there, and went to school there and everything. I got my degree from Northwestern in Chicago.
Nice.
But yeah, pretty much how I got into it is just kind of growing up. I have 3 older siblings. We were always playing sports, kind of roughhousing around and always active, but I was always the one getting hurt. So
you're the baby of the family too?
I am.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
I am too. I gotcha.
Nice. I'm the youngest, so I would always be getting hurt and whatever. And my parents joke that they spent more in hospital bills on me alone than all my siblings combined. I had broken bones and lost some teeth, and I had shoulder surgery in high school, and that was the big one. Because I had to get surgery, and then I had to get I did physical therapy, and it took me out of football, which was a huge bummer. I loved playing sports, so that kind of exposed me to it. And then pretty much in school, I gave it a try. Started studying some of it, the anatomy and physiology, learning about how the body works, and just the science part of it. I really enjoyed learning. It's really interesting to me, and the rest is history. It just really caught on for me, and I absolutely love the profession, love learning about it. I love working with people and helping them. So
that's awesome, man. Well, one thing that if anybody's ever been to physical therapy is they say traditionally, like going to physical therapy, I don't know if Andrew's been to physical therapy before, but it's pretty painful at first, especially if you're like post-surgery on something.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have to have a regimen of like doing something so much and so often, and it's it's kind of uncomfortable. I mean, one, you're going through surgery, so you're already in pain, and two, you're trying to, fix your body back to where it used to be, at least, bring
Sure.
it back to the functionality it used to be.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's like a huge stereotype of our profession. Like people will always be like, "Oh, PT stands for pain and torture" or whatever. Like we hear it all the freaking time, and it's just like, "Oh yeah, so funny."
Yeah.
But and that's true after surgeries, like you said. But actually, the nature of a lot of it, especially with like, say for example, like an overuse injury, you know, like for an athlete or anybody who does a job where they use their back a lot or they use their shoulder or their knee a lot, and it's just over time, right? So they don't need surgery, but they have this pain, right? That's super commonly treated by physical therapy, right? Um, but I guess for some reason that's more the stereotype. I think that's traditionally where our profession came out of. It was with more like actually out of like World War II with like major traumas and orthopedic surgeries, right? But it's definitely evolved over the years. And specifically for my, what I love to do is actually helping people avoid surgeries. And so it ends up looking a lot different. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I'm a believer in exercise and movement, and to some people they don't like that, I guess. But to me, it's not pain and torture. It's not supposed to be uncomfortable. My goal is to help them actually feel better and have less pain. So it's just a funny thing we always joke about, but something I like to educate too. Like, hey, like when you see me, my goal isn't to make you worse or whatever. It's actually to give you less pain and improve your function. So.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
big
if
thing
that makes
too.
sense.
Well, if you think about it, you're talking about a lot of things there, but one of the things that stuck out to me was that you were saying a lot of it can help you avoid surgery. So as someone who is a former athlete, the first thing that a doctor will tell you is, hey, you need to get surgery on this,
Yeah,
or hey, we
yeah.
need to get an MRI on that. Are there alternatives? And do you think possibly, going back to your high school career, I think is when you got your shoulder surgery, do you think you actually needed shoulder surgery if you had done the proper physical therapy?
Well, that's the thing that was probably my own fault, honestly, because I injured it and I kept playing and I didn't ever get it checked out. Maybe if I had a coach who told me, hey, you should get that checked out, you should go see a PT, I would have known better, but nobody told me that.
Mm.
And I just love playing sports. So I was like, it's fine, whatever. It pops back. It was like dislocating. It just kept, doing that. And I probably dislocated it 50 plus times.
Oh,
It got like
gosh.
really bad. So I probably needed surgery. I got it pretty bad. But yeah, if I had caught it earlier, I might have been able to avoid it. So definitely super passionate about that. I don't know if we're ready to dive into that topic because I could go on and on about that one.
Yeah, let's do it.
But, okay. Yeah, I
We
mean,
love stories here, so
Okay.
I'd love to learn more about that.
yeah. So I mean, I just feel like I've been a PT for 8 years, and just in my experience, I've seen just so many people. I feel like in our system, orthopedic surgery is super overutilized. Everyone's familiar now. Like the buzzword is like the opioids, right? We know about the opioid epidemic and how pain meds are just like way abused and overused. But I feel like it's kind of similar, honestly, for orthopedic surgeries. And the ramifications are different because obviously it's appropriate some of the time, and there's a lot of times where it helps people very well. But I just feel like too many surgeons out there are just too eager to cut and doing it too soon. And people aren't educated enough because the orthopedic surgeon is really like the top of the food chain, so to speak, in the like sports medicine world. And so when they say you need surgery, a person just assumes, okay, that's what I do. But I'm sure, I don't know if you all have heard or what your experience is or everyone who's listening, but like some people will get second opinions, right? And that's, I think, generally a good practice because one surgeon might say, oh, yeah, you definitely need surgery. Another one might say something different because it's not always so black and white. And so I'm really, really big on trying to educate people when they have an injury, like, okay, what are your options and what are the pros and cons of which route you take? It just depends. There's a lot. I mean, that's a whole discussion, and there's like, flow charts and there's nuance but it's just something I try to educate people on. So one I guess easy example is orthopedic surgery is like strongly indicated in like an acute trauma. So say you're in a car accident, you fall down a flight of stairs, something major where obviously a broken bone or like a major trauma where it's very clear something bad happened. Where I feel like it's overutilized way too much is like I was talking about earlier with like overuse injuries. Say someone just has this nagging pain that's just kind of crept up over the years, and they're told they need surgery, but they never like actually injured something. And that is a great example where it's like, I don't know. Things start to get more complicated, and the pain they experience is not just black and white, like, oh, this thing you see on your MRI is what's causing your pain. It becomes a lot more complicated. And that level of nuance is just not discussed, I think, enough, especially, our medical system, doctors don't have enough time to spend with patients is one huge issue. So they have 5 or 10 minutes to either write you a pill or tell you need surgery or not. That's it. They don't have time. Again, part of the reason I do my business, I have the time to dive into this stuff and spend a lot of time to educate them and talk about all these layers of what's involved here to inform the best decision. I'm rambling here, but
No, this is good
yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
Like I said, I could go on and on.
I think
but-
you're speaking to the sentiments of a lot of people. I was just thinking, you probably know the what's his name? The knees over toe guy.
yeah,
That's really interesting. I just got into that because
sure.
I run quite a bit and I've had a little bit of knee pain, but honestly, like how much I've ran, my knees are pretty fine. I had like one time
Yeah.
that I've had like, I'm okay, I might need to take a day off because it's pretty sore. So I was looking into him and just looking at alternative ways because like, how, especially with knee surgery, like everybody under the
Sure.
sun gets knee surgery at some point. But like if you know how to strengthen the tendons and everything around
Totally.
your knee and know how to actually utilize the
Mhm.
knee with certain exercises and activate, I guess, those ligaments and muscles and everything. There's a
Yeah.
whole thing about reversing any type of like trauma to the kneecap
Yes.
or whatever it might be. I don't know the technical terms for that, but it's pretty interesting to see, as opposed to like you said before. That's a big reason I don't go to the doctor because I feel like he's gonna write me a pill or send me to do another MRI or get
Yeah,
surgery. I'm
right.
like,
But not like actually fix fix the problem or I don't know. It's just either throw a Band-Aid on it or do surgery. And it's like, but surgery doesn't always fix it necessarily because pain, again, it's more complex and it's more nuanced. But at the core of it, like I really like what the knees over toes guy has done, like really in the fitness and health world. He's a big name now.
mhm.
But essentially preaching the message of like resilience, that our bodies are incredibly adaptable and resilient. They can heal, they can adapt if you put them in the right circumstances. And a lot of that is exercise and doing the right stuff to regain strength and mobility and all that. That could go a really long way in terms of preventing surgeries. So
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that's a big barrier to entry to a lot of folks, especially business owners, is the whole insurance piece, right? Having the insurance as a business owner, a lot of business owners don't even see the use for it if they're young, active adults. What do you think about that? Having insurance and coming to you, is that even a piece to your practice of like having insurance, or is there alternative routes? Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I'm an out of network provider. I don't work with insurance at all for a lot of reasons. But the core of it is essentially they're kind of running the ship now in all of healthcare, not just physical therapy across the board. They're calling the shots, unfortunately, because they're the payer. Where it's gotten to a point where I feel like they're making decisions more for patients than the providers are able to.
That makes no sense.
In no sense. I've heard stories and I've seen patients so many times where, like, for example, I saw this one woman who was coming to physical therapy. This was when I was working in the hospital, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm doing physical therapy, but they told me I need surgery, but I have to do a shot first." And there's this whole protocol, right? That the insurance decided. They said you have to do this, and then you have to do a shot, and then you have to do a different kind of shot, and this much time has to pass, and then maybe you can do surgery. And it's like, one, she might not have even needed surgery. So they didn't even have that discussion. They just literally like, this is your diagnosis, here's the protocol, because this is the most cost effective for the insurance company. You see stuff like this happen all the time. And the provider's hands are tied where they can make their recommendation, but it doesn't matter because they're the payer, right? So I just feel like it's really just ruined the whole system across the board, and patients aren't happy with the care they receive. They can see that they're they're not getting quality care, personalized care, thoughtful care. The providers mostly don't like it either. I mean, physician burnout is a huge thing. I don't know if you guys have had any physicians on the show, but
I don't think so, actually.
so I know you've had Travis with Pinnacle Primary Care, the direct primary care providers who are trying to do cash pay model and membership model and bypass insurance, but they know well, like physicians and just across the board, there's
Yeah.
burnout because the providers don't like it either. They got into healthcare to help people, to help their patients and do what's best for them, and their hands are tied and they're given 5-10 minutes and they have all this documentation to do and they've got to jump through these hoops. Nobody likes it. So all that to say, I decided when I started my business, I didn't want to go through insurance. And it is incredibly refreshing. So I'll speak on the positive, I guess, a little bit. It's different, obviously, because people are kind of accustomed to, oh, do you take insurance? I don't. But the reason is I don't have this third party telling me what to do at all. I don't have to send them bills. I don't have to worry about what they think, what they say, jumping through hoops. It's literally the patient comes to me. They tell me what their problem is. We talk and I educate them on what's best for them. And we talk about what is the best care for you. End of story. That's it. It is so incredibly simple and refreshing and rewarding to do. So I absolutely love it, but it is different. People aren't accustomed to it, but I like to educate on like why I'm doing it this way. And I love, like I said, what the direct primary care models are doing. There's a lot of great ones in town here who are pushing that forefront in the realm of primary care.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care.
Yeah.
That's our sponsor.
Oh, they are. Oh, perfect. Yeah. So they're amazing. Yeah, they're amazing. I love what they're doing, all about them. And there's several other great ones as well.
Yeah, and he was saying that they just want to be like top of mind, like top 3. That's their goal. They don't
Yeah.
they don't like aim to be like the first one. And I'm doing an ad read right now, kind of, but
Sure.
But yeah, they're amazing. Yeah, that's cool that you do it that way. And I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'll let you
No,
finish
you're
it.
good. So mine's a little different. Like I don't do a membership model. It is just like basically a service fee, right? Per visit, whatever. So it's different, but I'm just a believer in their mission and what they're doing. And I just wish everybody knew about direct primary care because it's an incredible option. You mentioned people who are maybe younger or like self-employed.
Yeah.
Who don't need like, I don't know, like they pay for health insurance, but they don't get anything out of it. It's
Right.
really just there for an emergency, right? So it doesn't really make sense. So I feel like it's such a better alternative to do that. And then this is another whole other topic, but when you pair direct primary care with any catastrophic plan, such as like a health share, I personally use Zion. And there's other options like that. It's so much more affordable. It's so much easier, so much of an easier process to deal with any health issues. And I think it's a great option for a lot of people.
And now a word from our sponsors. Redefine Mortgages. Are you looking to keep your top talent happy and invested in your company? Redefine Mortgages understands that home ownership leads to higher employee satisfaction and retention. That's why their Mortgage Perks program is designed to assist your employees in securing the home they've always wanted. Their services stand out with 24/7 access to dedicated loan officers, personalized consultations, and savings up to $5,000 on home purchases through internal partners. Visit redefinemortgages.com/mortgage perks or call them at 719-413-5120. Franchise Succeed. Have you ever thought about scaling your business nationwide? They specialize in helping small to mid-sized businesses grow through franchising, offering a full range of services from legal and financial considerations to marketing and sales. With over 6 decades of experience, the team at Franchise Succeed has a unique perspective on franchising, offering tailored strategies for both new and existing franchisors. They'll guide you through every step of the franchise process. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, visit franchisesucceed.com to schedule a free consultation.
Dope Tees. Our next sponsor is Dope Tees.
What?
Yes, a brand that's all about elevating your wardrobe game. They're on a mission to provide dope clothing that not only looks killer, but also makes you feel like $1,000,000.
Ooh.
Their designs are fresh and their quality is top notch. And they're all about making a statement. We couldn't be happier to have them on board as a sponsor.
And we're pumped to see what new incredible things we're going to accomplish together.
That was pretty good. I was pretty enthusiastic. I'm not gonna lie. DOPETEEZ.biz.
Our next sponsor is
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care. Imagine a healthcare experience that's truly tailored to your needs.
Let me imagine it. I got it.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care is revolutionizing the way we think about healthcare. Their model is straightforward. You pay monthly subscriptions directly to your primary care physician. This means no insurance companies or third-party players involved. Pinnacle believes in a healthcare system that's more personal, more accessible, and ultimately more effective.
That's pinnacleapc.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
What does a payment look like? So someone comes to you and you give them the plan, since you're not insurance,
Right.
just to let the viewers know and me,
Yeah.
I'm curious, like
Yeah.
how does that look like? I'm not asking you to
Yeah.
like disclose cost or anything, but like
Yeah.
what does someone expect when
It's
you
just
give
a
them-
per visit rate. And then typically, in the first visit, I do an evaluation at first. And so, I just do a full assessment. We talk about what's going on with them. We talk about their goals, what they're trying to get out of it, where they want to get. So we kind of create a plan together of, okay, what's it going to take to get there? And, how long is that going to take? How many visits might that be? What are we going to do in the visits? And so I do packages.
Okay.
So which offer like discounts. So it's super simple. Again, very, very refreshing. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
know with insurance, a lot of the big complaints, at least with talking with Travis with Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care,
Yeah.
talking with him, he was explaining that he's paying this insurance and then he's end up paying out of pocket anyways a bunch of times and having to still pay a bunch of money even though he's paying for the
Yeah.
insurance. So
Yeah, a lot of people see that like if they have a high deductible,
mm-hmm.
or they don't really look at their benefits, like maybe they have a percentage of a copay or co-insurance, right? And the problem with insurance is everything is so marked up. The prices are so insanely inflated,
Mm-hmm.
because they're the third party and everybody's got to take their piece in that
Mhm.
system. It's an incredibly inefficient system that by the time that bill gets to the patient, if they have to pay it out of pocket, it's like, I mean, exorbitant. It's 5, 6, 7, 10 times the amount of what that service actually costs.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, it's absolutely nuts. And MRI is a great example of that. They've seen the range of the same exact service, the same exact machine, range from I think as low as 600 to like several thousand, and the discrepancy. And we see this with medications. We see this with surgeries. We see this with physical therapy. I've heard numbers as high as if you go to an in-network provider, in town. I've heard an example. I won't name names or anything, but again, this is just a part of the system. If a patient goes to one of those in-network providers, but they have not met their deductible, or say they don't even have insurance, for example, and they have to pay out of pocket, that bill for one physical therapy visit, which is 45 minutes to an hour, could be as high as $1,000, by the time it gets to the patient, which is like, that's kind of insane. Like, and again, because it's just so inflated, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, when you're in network and you pay your copay or whatever, and it's quote unquote covered, there's built-in discounts and whatever, and
Mhm.
that they don't actually pay that much, but it sucks for the person who has a high deductible and then it gets stuck with that bill, right? I don't know if you see these stories online of people showing their hospital bills, like, they went in for whatever, they got the flu or something, or they sprained their ankle and they got a Tylenol and an X-ray and really basic stuff, and it was like
Mhm.
$10,000. You see that stuff all the time. It's just so inflated and it's so messed up. And again, I think just because the third party of these insurance corporations, they're running the show, it's not
Mm.
helping anybody but them.
And it's preying on people in their weakest moments too. Like
That's
they have
true.
no other choice really to. So
Yeah.
it's it's a interesting system
Yeah.
for sure. And I'm glad that
It's
things are changing with the
yeah,
direct care and like
for sure.
the all the systems that are like bypassing all that inflated prices because of insurance.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting time for sure. How's
Yeah.
that been for you with the not accepting insurance? What are the pros and cons of that for you?
Yeah, so I mean, the cons are definitely that some people, one, don't get it. They're just like, "Wait, what?" They just
Mhm.
don't expect it, and just having that conversation is so foreign to them. But then obviously the cost sometimes, people are thrown by that because people are used to it being quote unquote free, or maybe like a $20 copay,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and it's like, so again, I feel like
But
it's
then they're
hard.
also paying a bunch of money to insurance at the same time too.
But that's
Yeah.
the thing. They're paying,
Mhm.
these high monthly premiums, and if they haven't met their deductible, they're going to get a bill later, which they don't sometimes even realize, right? So those costs are there, they just don't see them. And so
Mhm.
when I say up front, like, "Hey, this is my cost," sometimes it shocks people. It's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
what?" And so that's a challenge. But
Do you have like payment plans or things like that?
I have offered those.
Okay.
Yeah, I have
And
for
I
people.
think
Yeah,
certain like my dentist offers like through a third party like a credit card or something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and they can set up payment plans that way as
Sure.
well too. Do you
I
offer anything like
I
that?
haven't done it. I wanna do an official capacity. I need to find a third party who might host that. I've just honestly, with certain clients who I see they really need help, and
Mhm.
we have that conversation. I've just kind of on an unofficial basis been like, "Okay, well, what can you pay? And we'll just work it out,
Mhm.
tell me what works for you, and we create a plan." So I just kinda
Yeah, and
improvise it,
I guess
but
the third party credit card thing would just protect you just in case they decide
yeah,
not to
exactly.
pay
You
or
get the
something.
payment, yeah,
Mhm.
and so I've thought about doing that, but I try to make it work for people at
For
the end of
sure,
the
yeah,
day.
yeah.
So yeah, it's a challenge, explaining that, but um, again, I've kind of spoken to the pros of it already. So simple, so refreshing. I
Mhm.
believe I'm free to provide the best quality healthcare that I believe is best for that person, right? At the end of the day, And for the most part, I feel like when I get people in the door, they meet me, they talk to me, they see what I'm going to do, and they start to get it. They see the value, and I have a doctorate of physical therapy. I have a lot of education, a lot of training, and I think I'm good at what I do. And I think once people see that and we kind of build that rapport, they see the value, and
Mhm.
and the value of what I provide, I feel like is immense for a lot of people because if they can prevent a surgery, if they can get off of pain meds, if they can get back to work, if they can get back to playing their sports, there's so much value there that I strive to provide, and I feel strongly about it that what I'm doing is incredibly valuable. So, yeah, I think once I show that to people, it helps, right? And yeah, but most of all, it's really the freedom of just. I love that. I'm a person who just doesn't like to deal with BS. I guess
Mhm.
it kind of frustrates me, inefficiencies, and
Mhm.
and to do that is incredibly rewarding. Yeah.
Awesome. What type of stacks of people are your patients? Because I think of so many different types of people. I can think of like an elderly man who's just trying to,
Yeah.
be as mobile as long as they can. I'm thinking about
Sure.
someone who's younger who might, like you said, overuse. They work at a warehouse and might
Yeah.
have hurt their. Is that kind of the customer base that you have right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks for asking that. Because physical therapy can look very, very different. It can range on the age spectrum from babies to elderly folks, right?
Uh huh.
I'm probably mostly in the middle, right? So, with adults, yeah, I don't work with kids. That's just very kind of niche,
Hmm.
and I don't really work with older folks either. That's also very kind of unique. And Medicare has its own actually stipulations
Mm.
about they basically, in short, they don't allow a person with Medicare, enrolled in Medicare, to pay cash for physical therapy, even if they wanted to. So I essentially don't see anyone above the age of 65 for that reason. It's kind of a silly rule, but that's the rule. Um,
Wow.
yeah, but so yeah, pretty much right in the middle there. It does vary a little bit, but I love working with active people. People who that's a big one. Athletes, but people who just like to hike or run or whatever the thing is. Um, that's a big one, and I really like working with people with chronic conditions, so problem cases, um, and that's a big part of the reason I started my business because again, those people who have like those more complex issues, they don't do well in the system. The system works okay for people who generally have like simple stuff for the most part,
Hmm.
right? But if there's anything complex and they need a little more attention, they need a little more thoughtfulness, they fall through the cracks. And I feel for those people and I see them all the time fall through the cracks. And it's sad because somebody dropped the ball here and it becomes this like domino effect where they end up with surgeries they don't need. They end up addicted to pain meds. And then that has ramifications on their overall health, on their mental health, on their heart and lung health, and it leads to other diseases, and it just becomes a disaster. And it all started because one person dropped the ball and didn't do a good job on a simple thing like back pain. I've seen this so many times. People, back pain, they get addicted to opioids, and it leads to all these other health issues. It's crazy. So I feel for those people, and I love working with them and trying to help them find answers. They need more time. They need education. They need someone to be thoughtful and thorough. That's kind of a big passion of mine.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting too because I could tell you have a lot of passion in what you do. But I know you are running your own practice, and so you have a business hat you have to put on quite frequently. So
Yeah.
kind of a two-pronged question. One, it sounds like you do have some strategic partnerships because we talked about Travis already.
Yeah.
Is there any other strategic partnerships that you have in the community? And two, how has that journey been for you to being, putting on another hat, which is entrepreneur and running your own practice as well?
Yeah. It's been a challenge for sure. Yeah, as just a physical therapist working, regular 9 to 5 job for 6 years and doing this has been a ride. Very, very challenging. But I've learned a lot. I've grown more than I think I ever have in my entire
Mhm.
profession in the past 2 years. So yeah, it's been a challenge, but I've learned how to grow a business and how to network and build those relationships. Great partnerships for me is really anyone in the health and wellness world. So direct primary care providers are huge ones. Again, I absolutely love what they do, but because they're in that cash pay model, it makes for easy partnership there.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
patient who go there tend to understand and think that way, right? But yeah, personal trainers, massage therapists, chiropractors,
Mhm.
nutritionists, mental health therapists, all of them. And I've built several great relationships with all of those. Has been integral in the growth of my business, and I love having those in my back pocket as well because again, the way I treat, I like to be thorough with people and comprehensive, and a lot of times when a person has a pain or chronic condition or an injury, it's not just the physical of what I'm dealing with. Sometimes they need other things. They need a mental health therapist, or they need someone to help them with their nutrition or whatever, right? X, Y, and Z. And so having those allies is huge to me. Yeah, I think was that.
So-
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So how are you? How are you doing on the marketing front? How are you acquiring clients? What is your strategy there?
Yeah, that's been a challenge too. It's been all word of mouth up to this point, where it's just like networking, getting out there, and that's been very, very helpful. So I'm in like BNI.
Okay.
Nice.
You guys have heard of that, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's been huge for my business, just building relationships and getting referrals.
Could
But
you
it's-
expand on the BNI thing? Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of people in the community that don't like BNI. So I'd like to see your
Sure.
perspective.
Or don't
of
even
that
know
too.
what it is, maybe too.
Yeah,
Sure.
that was well too. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a international organization, networking group, right? That has kind of the built-in system, right, of how networking, referral marketing works. And basically, it's a networking group. You build relationships with people, and they all try to support each other's business. And I think it works really well for word of mouth referrals because you got this group of people who you get to know and trust too, and you support each other. So
Mhm.
it's been very, yeah. And I know some people don't like it because of the
The strictness, I think.
yeah, right. There's, accountability, and it's a lot of time. It's
Yeah.
a big commitment. It's a lot of time. And it's an investment, but
For sure.
to me
yeah.
it's worth it. Very
Mhm.
much worth it in the end to do it. So
Yeah, because if you get like just a couple deals off of that, it probably pays for itself. And
totally
and
more
you're probably
than
getting more than a couple.
yeah, it more than pays for itself. And I think yeah, it's one of those things, you get out of it what you put into it. And so that they are keep you accountable, and they get on you to do your stuff and whatever, be present and show up and do the work. But
Mhm.
that's why it works, because
Yeah.
people are there doing
Mhm.
it. Right. So yeah, I'm a fan of it.
Sweet.
So that's been very helpful. It's been a challenge though, because that's so fluctuating. I know that's for a
Mhm.
lot of industries and a lot of businesses, right? Where business is up and down. And when I hit those slow months, it's just hard,
Mhm.
because the nature of what I do, it's long term. I'm building relationships, and who knows when a person's going to need my services. It's kind of random, right?
Yeah.
And it changes a lot. So it's been a challenge. Recently I've been thinking about possibly doing a little bit more of some online advertising with basically a physical therapy like specialist marketer who does like Facebook ads. And I
Okay.
have some colleagues who have
We have
had some
another
success
sponsor
with
on the
it.
show called Recon Marketing.
Okay.
Which is his company.
Nice.
Yeah, and they
yeah.
do all that stuff too as well.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's hard. So how long have you been, again, how long has your business been open for?
For 2 years.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
normal. Like I would
Yeah.
say 2 to 4 years is basically just word of mouth.
Mhm.
So you're doing all the right things. It's
Yeah.
the most affordable, the most effective. If you do a
Right.
damn good job, it can keep you going for a long, long time.
Sure.
Drives down all the other costs, right? Because
For
it's
sure.
free. It's powerful. There's nothing more powerful than something that really works and having customer base that loves it and shares that with other people, right?
Sure. Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you do a good job, you'll always will have clientele.
Sure.
So like if you ever want to have that conversation about the advertising, there's so many different
yeah.
avenues now, just
For
in
sure.
advertising, or there's a myriad of things that are coming true in the marketing world that are kind of going full circle and coming back again, like email marketing and things of that sort too.
Mm,
We could talk about that, and
Sure.
I'm happy to
Okay.
off
Yeah,
camera
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
to you a little bit
Yeah, and
about
I'd like
that.
to speak on the fluctuation thing if you're talking about with relying on word of mouth. Like that's what I've experienced as well too, and
Yeah.
it just is. It's you need to have that balance, and if you're purely relying on word of mouth, you're going to go through those roller coasters.
It's hard
At
to
least
be
in my
consistent.
industry, and
Yeah. Yeah.
at least
Same.
and it's hard to do that. I think for like home service based businesses, they can really rely on word of mouth
Yeah.
pretty well, just because there's
Sure.
such
There's
a
such
high
an
demand.
abundance. Yeah. Yeah.
But I know for me, like I need to. What I've told myself is I need to stabilize the deals coming in, and relying on word of mouth is not. It's just stressful, that up and
It's
down,
stressful because you
and
don't know if you're gonna pay the bills one month or the
Mhm.
next.
And then you have
right? Yeah.
and then that requires you to take a risk, and you got to take
Yes.
these risks. And
Yeah.
I've been dabbling in the advertising
Yeah.
myself, and I
Yeah.
would say more than dabbling. I'm like doing like a full-time job almost. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know, maybe you've seen some of my ads recently, maybe not, but I've been I've been advertising in the local community, but
Okay.
also I've expanded testing out different things. But yeah,
Gotcha.
it's definitely a risk, but I think once you figure it out, you
Yeah.
have a lead system that all you have to do is just turn it on or
Right.
crank it up whenever
Right.
you need.
Right.
And once you figure that out, then when you have those slower seasons, you can just turn
Yeah.
up the knobs on
Exactly.
those things, and that's what I've realized. And I'm coming up on my 5th year in
For
business,
sure.
so
Yeah, it
yeah.
was scary for me at first to do that because it is quite an investment to do it.
hmm
I know, yeah.
And you cannot
Um,
see returns because you have to build
Yeah,
the machine first,
right,
essentially.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've gotten to a place now where I have, a pretty solid base. I've networked a lot and built good relationships and have
hmm
several avenues of sources of referrals and stuff
Cool.
like that to where I maybe can take that chance here soon. So I'm thinking about it, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
yeah,
it'd be a good thing, especially if you want to grow and scale. Like, and also for
yeah,
me, the hugest pain point in that is stabilizing my lead flow, essentially. So
sure,
yeah.
sure.
And so outside of networking and BNIs, what was some of the other things you're doing to grow the business?
Social media, I
Okay.
guess. But it's really mostly networking. I feel like social media to me is just like ancillary to the relationships I build because it helps me kind of keep in touch with people I meet, because
Mm-hmm.
can't be spending time with all these people every single week, but kind of stay top of mind,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
by doing
Mm-hmm.
that. So I'm not like doing advertising or I don't really expect to get leads per se
Mm-hmm.
from social media, but it's a way to just stay connected with the community, I think. So yeah, that's pretty much it, really.
Okay.
But yeah, I've networking is it takes a lot out of me personally, to
Me
be
too.
honest.
Yeah.
Like a lot of energy to where like I found over the years that I've had to kind of take it in ebbs and flows, and right now I just feel a little burnt out with it, to be honest.
mm-hmm.
Just my social meter, so to speak,
I'm on the
right?
same page, I think.
Like I'm sure I'll come back around, but it just like, and that's why I'm like, man, I think maybe I should start doing some ads or
That's the
something.
cool thing about ads. You can lean
Yeah.
into your strengths or lean into
Yeah,
what
yeah.
if networking does drain you, like you can
Yeah.
lean. There's other avenues
Right, right.
uh to use. Alex Ramosi talks about the core four for getting leads, and it's like you have
Mm,
your cold outreach, you've got your warm outreach,
mm,
you've got your which is there's the advertising. So it's like, and creating content would be would that where would that fall under? But yeah, you can create content which is free,
mhm.
or you can pay for advertisements, or you can do warm outreach, like reaching out to people who
Right.
already know you, or you could do
Sure.
cold outreach, which is reaching out to people who have never heard of you before.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've been doing a lot of cold outreach
Oh
lately,
yeah.
like so much so that I have to fix my email because it's starting to go to spam now. So it's not good.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's a different approach, but
hmm
How do
yeah.
you deal with that? As an entrepreneur, you're a physical therapist at your core, but there's
Yeah.
so much that goes on with that, like the mental
Right.
battles, like you're
Yeah.
saying, making revenue, projecting revenue, being maybe an introvert but having to be extroverted. Like,
Yeah.
talk a little bit to our viewers about
Uh,
that toll, like mentally and emotionally, because we know that as business owners too.
yes.
We're there with you, man. We understand exactly
It's
what you're going
tough.
through. But
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to put into words for someone who's never been through that. But I'm gonna ask you to try to.
Okay.
It's a battle. I know.
I mean, yeah, you kind of just said it right there. Like, I wish in my ideal scenario, I would have someone just take care of all of the business stuff for me. I
hmm
just want to be a PT. I just want to do a great job for people, do the PT that I do well at, and I don't want to have to worry about all of this stuff.
Mhm.
But the reality is, I can't right now, right? And so, yeah,
Right now
it's
being the keyword.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe as grow and it becomes more automatic, and I don't have to worry about it as much. So it's been such a challenge. It's almost like I don't have kids, but the way people describe it, I feel like it's like having a kid. Like it's so much work, but it's also super rewarding, right?
Yeah.
And so I spoke to the pros earlier, and so that's just what keeps me going is the positive of it. When I get a day where, for example, I get to just do my business for that whole day, and I get to just see patients that day, and it's a full day of that. It is, I mean, there's nothing like that. I feel so happy at the end of it. It's so rewarding. It keeps me going, right? But yeah, all that other stuff is hard. I don't I don't really enjoy. Again, I feel like I've learned, I guess in some ways it's stretched me and taught me other skills, which I'm sure are valuable and all that. But I haven't enjoyed necessarily that that part,
It's very
to
tough.
be honest. So it's a challenge, and I just have to keep remembering my vision and why I'm doing it and the pros of it, and that's what keeps me going.
We always say that. Well, I always say there's for every level there's another devil. Meaning like I've been in points of my
Man.
business where like I'm like, man, I finally have a team, so I don't have to worry about the stuff I hate doing.
Yeah.
But then like when you are managing a team, then you have to deal with firing people, and like for me,
Mm.
I'm inherently like big people pleaser,
Yeah.
so I had to learn not to be as much of a people pleaser being a leader because
Yeah.
you have to make really hard decisions.
Sure.
And so like I would like to say it gets easier as you build a team. In some ways, it definitely does. But like
Yeah.
I said, every level has another devil. There's
Yeah.
something that's like, man, it's
Mm.
always pushing me mentally and
Yes.
emotionally,
Yeah.
physically, depending on the workload and stuff like that. I talked about on an earlier episode way back about like when so my first business was running big events, and my first
Mm.
event had 25,000 people go to it. And I had experience doing that as an employee, and then I did my own. So I knew it was going to be a big event, but like I had a moment I've told Andrew about that it was like, it took me 2 years to put this event together. It was at the Air Force Academy. It was a tiny house festival. And I remember the morning driving there, like before the first day started, and being like, I'm like, I have like no money left. Like this has to work. Like if no one shows up, I am screwed.
Oh,
Like so like
gosh.
$100,000 screwed.
Ooh.
First business, like terrified, like most fear I've ever had. But
And
for
that was on
whatever,
a loan too, right?
yeah, it was my own business. It was just like
Yeah.
I would sink my ship and it'd just be
Yeah.
me. But
Yeah.
I just remember being like feeling a little bit more free just above that fear for whatever reason. Cause I'm like,
Mm.
dude, I'm all in. Like, this is a cool feeling too.
That's
because
true.
it's
It
like
almost. Yeah.
this vision's coming alive that I had by myself working all those years to put on my first event and saving up all that money. It's going to happen whether I like it or not. So you might as well just be in the moment and feel free in that moment. And there's something
Sure.
to be said about that
Yeah.
of like the fear, but also being like, at least I'm living life on my own
Yes.
accord. And yeah, it's just like an emotional feeling that's like, it's crazy, right? Crazy fear, but a little bit of freedom, a little bit more above that. It makes it
Yeah.
all worth it.
I agree. I do agree. Yeah. I feel like you can't go back after. It's like an exhilarating thing almost
Yeah.
because of the risk and the way it stretches you. And yeah, going back, it just seems boring to go back to a 9 to 5 job where it's just clock in, clock out, do the same thing every day, you
Mhm.
know? So it's like, I get that too, where it's like there is an excitement of it in an extent. And the freedom and the possibility, you know, of what it could possibly become is it's always there, you know, of seeing it grow. So
So I have a side question for you because I know you're from Chicago. Why Colorado Springs? And it sounds like before we were talking when the cameras weren't on just yet, but you've done a lot of things in the 6 years you've been here as well. It sounds like you found love, like you've started your career, but yeah, why Colorado Springs?
So yeah, pretty much at that time in my life, I was just kind of looking for a change. I actually moved to California first, and I did some travel therapy. We do like short-term contracts.
Cool.
I did that for like half a year, and then I had a friend out here from physical therapy school who was here and was inviting me to come out and just stay with him and try it out. And I was in just a flux time, and so I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I'll give Colorado a try. And I in my 20s, I kind of got into like hiking and camping and you know the outdoor stuff, which is non-existent in Chicago. So I was like, there was an appeal, you know, with the
Mhm.
outdoor stuff, and so pretty much, yeah, I just took a chance and then really loved it since moving here. The lifestyle, the weather, the outdoor stuff, and all of that, and yeah, I ended up meeting my girlfriend, who is now my fiance, and getting a house, and yeah, it's been good.
Dang, that's such a
Yeah.
crazy adventure, man. Like,
Yeah.
what is your family back home? Is it back east or what is it just like,
Yeah,
yeah. What does your family back east think about like you establishing roots in another state and
Yeah, I
doing your own
mean,
thing?
I guess I was a little bit of a black sheep, so to speak. So
Oh.
just doing my own thing, I guess, and they knew I had to kind of go out and fly and do it, and no, they're happy for me, like and all that, and yeah, they're very established there. I'm always like trying to tell them to come out here, but they're you know they've got deep roots. My siblings all have kids, and they're connected with like church friends and all this stuff. So,
Mm.
but yeah, they're supportive, and I still see them. You know, they come out and visit, and I go back home and stuff. So.
Where have
Yeah.
you taken? And so here's another two-pronged question, but like, what have you discovered? 6 years. I've been here for 20 years, and I feel like I still haven't uncovered 50%. I don't know what Andrew could say about that, but like, went on a trip this past August, and we went to Telluride in Southwest Colorado, and I was like, I love
I
that
love
area, but
Telluride.
I never
Mhm.
did that until 2023. I've done it twice now, but like, so what new places have you stumbled upon, and does your family ever go with you along for the ride too?
Haven't done too much exploring with them. I've taken them to like the Mount Princeton hot springs,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
which is really nice. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the state is just like endless exploring to see. So absolutely love Telluride.
Mhm.
Crested Butte,
Mhm.
um, Aspen area with the Maroon Bells. Like, yeah, those are, I feel like, the big three. Like, it's just like, but there's so much in each of those areas to see. So it's just like, that's also why it's really nice to live here, because there's always something new you could go explore and see and do. So it's been really fun.
Yeah. Any 14ers under your belt yet? Have you done any of those?
Yeah, I've done a few. I'm not a crazy 14er. I know that some people are like real gung ho on that, and I've done like maybe 5 or 6. Yeah, I guess for me it's the view is enjoyable, but I don't enjoy the not breathing part for the past 2,000 feet. But
You get that
Yeah.
altitude sickness, because I've rarely felt it on 14, and I've only done 3, but like
Oh,
I don't really
really?
feel it too. Not really. I feel it like my hands get inflated
Yeah,
and
yeah,
swollen
yeah.
and stuff like that, but I don't really get too much.
I do, yeah, which is weird. I've been here 6 years, but my Chicago blood runs thick, I guess. I don't know what it is. Like every time, even if I'm like super in shape,
Yeah.
I get up to 14,000 feet, do not feel good. So,
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
yeah.
Well, the funniest thing for me when I do a 14er is that I can hike all day up. I can't go down, and so he makes fun of me because this guy is a natural hiker, like
Yeah.
insane. Like our first hike together, we did Dispute Valley, which is like nothing, but like we did in the dark. It was like 10 o'clock at night,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just hanging out, just like just you drinking like a beer or coffee or something. But like
It
he
was
didn't even have a
kombucha
flashlight.
beer.
Yeah, and he didn't even have a flashlight. He was just walking like he's naturally like a mountain goat.
Oh yeah, hopping from rock to rock.
I've had friends like
At
that.
night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have had same friends. I feel like their ancestors, something I don't know, in
Yeah.
their gene pool is just like they just did this in their sleep. And it's just
Well,
like-
Palmer Park has taught me that, I
That's-
think.
I
So
think
I've
so.
gone to Palmer
Yeah.
Park probably over 1,000 times.
Oh yeah, for
And
mountain biking?
no,
or-
for like side shows, just hiking and like
Oh,
just
okay,
getting outside,
Yeah.
and it's like one of my, I guess you could say, like just daily activities to do things besides working on my business.
yeah.
So-
I live really close to there. But
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
sweet,
yeah,
yeah. It's an amazing park. I think it's underrated by a lot. Like a lot of people that even like grew up here or live here
yeah,
don't see the value that it has.
yeah,
But yeah, all those side trails, like
Mhm.
you can't be on your phone either when you're on the side trails because you'll trip and flip. I'll need to see you.
yeah.
I'll need to call you
yeah,
if I do
right,
that.
Yeah.
I actually we had a chiropractor on, John Steinberg, I think.
Oh
with
yeah,
Zenith.
yeah. I know him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and literally the day he was on, I went to Palmer Park afterwards, and I went down this thing and I slipped and hit my head like on the thing, and I didn't. I hit him up. I was like, "Bro, am I good?" and yeah, he said I should be good. But,
Okay.
yeah.
That's-
But yeah, it was just kind of funny because yeah, you got to watch out for that. And it was like spring, so it was just like a little. I just slipped, and like I've never slipped and fell at Palmer Park besides that one time.
yeah.
But yeah, it was just I went into this little ditch to go over this thing, and the dirt was just loose. And
That's just the nature
Yeah,
of it, though, right?
exactly.
You never know.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Palmer Park. I think it's underrated. There's a lot of
Yeah.
good exercise you can have, and the view is amazing. And
Yeah.
yeah, they should sponsor the show.
There you go. Good pitch. That's a great pitch.
Yeah.
So 2 years in, next 5 years, what does it look like for Head to Toe? If it was a perfect world, where would you be? Would you still be here? And you don't have to, but I'm just saying, like,
True.
what does it look like 5 years from now if everything went the way at
Mm.
least you somewhat planned for it to go?
I see 2 potentials. So one, if really love it here, but me and my fiance, we sometimes talk about like traveling more, or like we really love California too, but it's so expensive, and so
Mhm.
there's like dreams of like maybe moving, somewhere else someday, as much as we both really like it here. So I've thought about potentially expanding my business to more of a virtual platform at some point if we were to go that route, which is a completely different strategy. Would
Mhm.
probably need to do a lot more online advertising for that and
Mhm.
social media and all that. But yeah, that's a big area I think that is untapped, and there's a lot of potential that I see there if I wanted to go that route. But if I were to stay here and continue to grow this, right now I honestly just want to get it to where my schedule is consistently booked, to be honest. So people always ask me, do you want to scale? Do you want to hire? And kind of like some of the stuff you said, those next devils kind of scare me. Like, I don't know how good I would be at managing people and dealing with all of that extra headache of payroll and all that stuff. I kind of just want to grow it to where I'm consistently doing what I love every day,
Mhm.
day in, day out. I would love that. That would make me really happy, I feel like. So and doing that consistently. So either that or just kind of shifting gears and doing more of the virtual platform.
Is there
Yeah.
anybody in your industry who's done the virtual
Oh,
platform? I'm
yeah.
sure since
Yeah,
COVID,
it's
right?
oh, yeah. COVID definitely kind of expanded it a lot more, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of PTs who do that across the country. And it's a lot of potential there, I think, because our primary medium really is exercise. It's movement coaching.
Mhm.
We're movement experts, right? I do hands-on modalities and stuff like that. I do dry needling and
Oh, wow.
various, hands-on manipulation type stuff, right? Just to help with pain and stuff. But the meat and potatoes of what we do, and this kind of speaks again to my vision and passion for what I do is movement, because it empowers people. It teaches your body how to heal, how to move. That's the most powerful thing at the end of the day. And so you have a lot of ability on the virtual platform to help people. You really do, especially if they're motivated, to do what you say. You become like a movement coach almost, right? So
Mhm.
people do that for personal training all the time. That's, I feel like, a little bit more in the forefront. But again, if people can understand that our profession is we're movement coaches, primarily, um, once if they people are starting to see that it's changing. So I think there's a ton of potential there, and I would be happy doing that.
I have a massage therapist that I go to. She treats everything with Chinese medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and you've probably heard of this. She does like the muscle scraping. Have you heard of that
Mm-hmm.
before?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever done it or if you do that, but it is it's painful for sure. Like they rub you raw, and then even more once you're raw. Like, but it's for blood flow, right? To
Yeah,
help,
yeah.
like traditional massages to help with blood flow, but this is even more so to help with like the blood flow in that specific targeted area. I would
Sure.
assume. Have you heard of that? Do you
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, in the physical therapy world, we call it instrument assisted soft tissue mobilization. It's a
Mm.
long
Wow.
mouthful, but yeah, it's just using a tool to do a massage, right? So there's a lot of different spin-offs of it, but I do that. Cupping, like I said, dry needling, yeah, and the like. But again, and to me, those modalities are all helpful for a person who's like pretty inflamed, like in a lot of pain, and just to help, kind of get some of that under control can be helpful, especially in the early stages. But I'm a huge believer. Again, I empower my people. Like, you don't need me. Like, I will help you as needed, but at the end of the day, I want to teach you how to take care of your body, right?
Mhm.
And I'm a big believer in that. That calls for a tough business model, though, to be honest. But I'm passionate about it, and it kind of gets my gears going a little bit here if we want to go down this route. But in the health and fitness and wellness world and nutrition world, there's a lot of just like, for the sake of growing a business, people are just spewing stuff and claiming stuff that's just not true, all the time for this to make the sale, right? And what irks me is when people who are a healthcare professional use that quote unquote authority and that kind of, position of power, so to speak, to manipulate people, you know? Um, and so I feel very strongly about not doing that. People come to me with this trust, like I am the professional, I'm the one who knows what's best for them. And they trust what I say. And it can be manipulated, and people do it all the time in all over the health and wellness
Mm.
world, and again, they're trying to grow their business, and maybe they're not really harming people directly, but I feel strongly in educating people on what's best for them. Even if that means at the end of the day, that's less business for me. Like, I tell them, like, you don't need me forever. Like, I want to teach you how to do this. Yeah, I will help you, but I want to teach you how to do it, right? And I mean, that's just the best thing for people, and that's what I believe. So that's what I'm going to do. So that honestly has made my business even more challenging
Yeah.
because I operate on honestly less average visits probably than most other physical therapy places you'll go, or other healthcare providers. So it makes it a challenge. But again, I decided when I started my business, I wasn't doing this to get rich. Like, yeah, I want to make money and make a living and be comfortable, and I want to travel and all that. But that wasn't my primary goal. I did this because it's so much more rewarding. I love doing it this way. And if I make money and do well, great. But I'm never going to sacrifice my conscience or what I believe is best for the sake of growing this business and just making more money. I'll never do that. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So it's not worth it to me.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And so my background obviously is marketing, and I worked at the largest agency in Colorado, up in Fort Collins, for quite some time, and I met some of the most brightest, best marketers in the world, and I always looked up to them for a lot of reasons. One, because they were so good at what they did, and back then it was just like traditionally just Meta was just starting to take off, and Google Ads was like king, and it was Google AdWords previously to that,
Mm-hmm.
and
There's also previously Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook ads, Google ads, right? And they were so good at it, but I felt like the one thing that made me different is that I always set apart some time to learn whatever the new marketing trends were, and they were kind of stuck in their ways. And so, like, fast forward to today, there's a whole myriad of new tools out there regarding to marketing. Andrew and I talk about them all the time. However, if I was going to be stuck with the folks I used to work with, they would have no idea what I'm talking about. And so I think there's a lot of value in always keeping up and setting up time for yourself to find out new trends in your industry. It sounds like you're doing that and it's helping you a lot. Is that something like, how do you plug into those new, I mean, healthcare is like, and in your industry specifically is always changing, right?
Yeah, it is evolving, and there's a lot of voices out there. There's a lot of chatter, right? Especially on social media.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's like certain profile people, like PT celebrities, so to speak, who I like to follow, who are just kind of like, on that cutting edge, so to speak, and making moves, and who I vetted and I know are legit, and that kind of thing. So that helps. But yeah, obviously my profession, it's based, very much like science based, and big on like doing things that are evidence based and science based, and we're not making this stuff up. In other words, right? And it is a constantly evolving thing. So that's also been enjoyable about my business, is like the drive to learn more and to improve myself, to improve my skills, to improve my knowledge, to stay on top of current research and where the trends are going, what we're learning, what's most effective. So yeah, I'm always doing that, whether it's with articles, with doing continuing education courses, with podcasts. Yeah, definitely trying
That's
to stay on
awesome,
top of
man.
that. Yeah.
Well, if someone wanted to plug in and be a physical therapist, open up their own place, what key words of advice would you give them?
Huh. Oh man, so much. That's, um, I feel like one is you have to have a real strong why. That's one thing I've learned, is because like it's, we've talked about how this road is difficult, and it always brings me back to, okay, why am I doing this? Because you think about quitting, you think about jumping ship, and you got to know why you're in it. So that's a big one, and having like that clear vision. Um, but besides that, I think just it's uh the willingness to learn and to put the work in. Honestly, I feel like this has taught me given me a lot of grit. To be honest, like trial and error, falling on my face, making mistakes. Like, you have to be ready to fail, I think, is a huge one. Um, yeah, and to embrace it almost. I've almost gotten to the point where I've embraced like mistakes. It's like, oh, then it just teaches me something, right? It completely, that mindset, I feel like is really everything, and where it I feel like, and what I've seen in other like business owners too, not just physical therapists, but most entrepreneurs, right? It's the one with that mindset who, like, when they fail, when they mess up, it doesn't destroy them. They almost enjoy it, and they just learn from it and move on. It's just like that mindset shift. So yeah, I think that would be what I would say.
Yeah, hard
Yeah,
road there always
yeah,
makes it worth it, though. I mean, like if it was all easy, then it wouldn't feel like it worth it once you do hit the
true,
successes that you hit, right?
true.
Because we all go through that, and that's completely normal. Like, I would be lying if I said I'd never thought about quitting any of the little things I've done in my career ever. Like, for
Yeah,
sure, it tests me. It tests all of us, and
hmm
it's so challenging. And it not only tests you, it tests those who are in your orbit, your partners and stuff too, because for one, they see you go through all that stuff, and it's a
yeah,
challenge, man. Like,
yeah,
and two, like probably your time these past few years has been super like stretched depending on what you're doing, and you have to prioritize what's worth doing
yeah,
too. It's
yeah,
like, I know as a business owner, there's a million things I can be doing right now, but what's priority? What's going to push the needle for me to do this? Am I just being reactive, or am I being proactive with my
yeah.
future? And there's so many learning lessons. It's like the best personal development
It
course you could ever
really
take,
is.
right?
It really is. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, like I said, I've learned and grown more. Oh my gosh, it's just such a concentrated growth in the past 2 years. So it's like, yeah, I value my education and my degree, but this type of learning, I don't think there's any other way to do it more efficiently and more effectively than to just go out there and do it, and yeah, figure it out.
For you,
Yeah,
brother, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Well, we could start wrapping this up, but so is there anything that you have on your end in your back pocket for questions, or?
No, I love that. I really feel the same way in a lot of the ways, in a lot of the things that you're saying. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, like it all depends on the economy too, and like what's going on with everything. It's just so many variables that are outside of your control,
Yeah.
which makes it such a rat race in so many ways. And like, how do you get out of the rat race? Well, you really can't. You have to go through the pain. Like, there's no other way. You have to go through the pain.
There's
to get
no
to the other side.
shortcuts.
Yeah.
There's no hacks.
Yeah,
It's just
Mhm.
like you got to grind at the end of the day. There's no avoiding it.
you find the
Yeah.
fake actors really quickly once you've been through the grind, and you're
Yeah.
like get rich quick schemes, or like you're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I can spot them
Oh
from a
yeah.
million miles
Yeah,
away
it's like,
now, right?
That's for sure.
I do think mentors can help you bypass a lot of the struggles, though.
True.
Yeah.
Maybe
True.
maybe it's not you still have to do the work, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it could help. It could help, definitely help, because they've probably, especially finding proven mentors in your industry.
For sure.
You know, because if you found someone who did
yeah.
video stuff, and yeah, they may have some good insight for you when it comes to business if they've grown a business before, but
Totally.
someone who's specifically done physical therapy would
Yes.
could help you get through some of the next steps for sure.
100%. No, that's been huge. There's several other PT entrepreneurs in town here, friends of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and we talk and we meet up periodically, and that's been just huge. We
Yeah.
share ideas and what we're doing, what's working, what's not. That's been huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've recently put together a videography co-op kind of thing where we do something similar as well too.
Nice.
So like, and that's pretty rare in the videography world, because there's a lot of, that's kind of the reason why we created it, because there's a lot of like competition in
Yeah.
that, so, and
Yeah.
there's a lot more videographers than there is for demand, I feel, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
It's kind of
so, yeah,
saturated in a way.
when
Yeah.
it comes to videography,
Yeah, yeah.
and maybe not though. So it's like there's still, I know a lot of the videographers because I'm in that industry. So your average person probably barely knows one videographer, I bet. So so yeah, there's still a lot of abundance out there. I'm not saying that. Like there's enough work for all of us.
Sure.
And that's why we have the co-op, because we understand that. We
Yeah,
wouldn't, we wouldn't be in the co-op if we didn't understand that.
Yeah.
We'd be like, you're stealing my
Right,
business
right,
or whatever,
right.
But no, it's huge. And that's awesome that you guys have that
Yeah.
as well too. I'm sure it's
Totally.
competitive in the physical therapy session too, or not session physical therapy as well. Like,
Yeah,
is there a
yeah.
lot of competition in that as well too?
It's different though, because like there's the in-network providers. It's like its own world, and then us out-of-network providers are its own world. But we all are very much on that same page of the mindset of abundance, like just kind of shifting the culture of healthcare to people to understand this. And what's the phrase, that the rising tide raises all boats or
Yeah.
whatever, and
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
like that. And like there really is plenty of business to be had, and there's plenty of people in this town who need all of our services. And so
Sure.
there's we all understand that and support each other.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an active town, man.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, for
whole
sure.
bunch of abundance here for sure.
Totally. And it's constantly growing, so it's like,
Yeah. It's growing fast too.
Yeah. yeah.
That's awesome, brother. Well,
Yeah.
where can we find you? This is your camera right here.
Cool.
Give them everything you want: website, Instagram handle, whatever you want to put on there. No,
Yeah, not on
phone
there.
number. No.
Hasn't gotten that desperate yet. No, just kidding. So it's easy. It's Head to Toe. So it's HEADTOTOH. That's my last name. That's my Instagram handle, my Facebook, TikTok. But that's my website also, headtotoe.com. Those are all great ways you can find me. One thing I just tell everyone who might be looking for physical therapy service is that I offer a free discovery visit. So anyone who has pain or an injury, or just wants to see if I'm a good fit, you can find that all on my website. Schedule a just kind of that discovery visit to chat with me, meet me, and see if I can help.
That's awesome, brother. Well, thanks, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Boom.
All right.
That was good.